Harry has leaked and planted private family conversation. He's known for also doctoring it to make some money.
Breaking right now, the real reason King Charles has cut contact with Prince Harry. Angela Levin, Prince Harry's biographer, has her own verdict on Piers Morgan's claim about why Harry and Meghan have become pariahs within the British royal family, with everyone now deciding to cut contact with the duplicitous Montecito duo. Before we get the real story from Angela, here's what Piers Morgan told my friend Meghan Kelly. Watch.
On their website, it says that they're all about compassion. They're compassionate people. They're also all about mental health and helping people with mental health. They've been very vocal about that recently, about the perils of online trolling and the effect it has on people's mental health. And yet here we are with Vanity Fair, the Hollywood Bible, the thing that Meghan was most thrilled about getting the cover of a few years ago when she got engaged to Harry, which went down very badly with the palace at the time, I can tell you. But now it reveals that actually she in particular is a nasty little bully who sends staff into therapy. Think about that for a moment. This true. Also follows all the stories about her bullying staff over here in the UK, which is unresolved. NDAs stopped all that stuff coming out, but she bullied people in a very unpleasant way over here. So it's no surprise to people who work at Buckingham Palace. They saw and witnessed all this here. So I just showed, look, they're a pair of hypocrites, they're a pair of chancers, as the Spotify guy called them, a pair of effing grifters. And they're desperately trying to maintain some kind of future as a renegade royal couple when they're no longer part of the royal family. The royals don't talk to them.
Here's the key line.
The king does not talk to his own son. None of the senior royals talk to these two. They are total pariahs in the family because the only currency they have is trashing the royal family and the monarchy. And every time they try and do something else, nobody cares. No one cared about their podcast series. Nobody cared about the polo series recently. Nobody cares about any of it. All they want to hear is the dirt. And these two, for 5 years, have reveled and wallowed in royal dirt for vast amounts of money. And that's what makes Prince Harry's ongoing campaign against the UK newspapers, which had another flare-up this week, so laughably hypocritical.
Angela Levin, Prince Harry's biographer, with me now. And Angela, you have a bit of a disagreement with Piers Morgan about why King Charles has cut contact with Prince Harry. You say he's done it for good reason because Harry is now dangerous. Can you explain what you mean?
Yeah, Harry is very dangerous for him, really. He has to avoid speaking to him, not because he doesn't care for him anymore. I don't believe that. He loves Harry, but he doesn't love how he's behaving. He has to be careful because Harry has leaked and planted private family conversation. He's known for also doctoring it to make some money. So if you don't want him to do that, you have to stop talking to him. The other reason is there's loads really. It's dangerous for the king to answer any questions because Harry is still having deals with the High Court, and in April, 24/7 protection is going to be his thing that he's going to go for. Now, if he talks to Harry, he can then make an effort to say that the king is involved with this story and say something that he isn't involved with, but he will because it will help him. He can twist the words and actually give the impression that the king is dealing with the Home Office. He does think he should actually tell the Home Office what to do, but he can't do that because it's a
constitutional, yeah, it's a constitutional issue. Exactly, and he cannot do it. He cannot do it.
He's also got cancer, and he has to be.
Harry doesn't seem to ever care about.
No,
really.
He doesn't care about it. He turns up when he wants to.
Yeah, for his own PR, not for his father.
And he has to make sure that he doesn't get into an argument. Now, Harry still feels that his father hasn't actually apologized about treating Meghan badly. Well, I don't think anybody did. Meghan treated everybody else badly. So he doesn't want to have that shouting at him. He wants his father to give him a proper conversation and get an apology for him and discuss the accountability, which is his favorite word. But he's not going to get his father to sit down and he's going to tick off these things. So he keeps on attacking his father. He flies over without much notice and thinks that the king should drop everything because he's there for 20 minutes. He also wants to control who's in the room with his father, and he doesn't want Camilla there. And Camilla is there, and she doesn't say anything. She doesn't try and make Charles or Harry say something they don't want to. But she's there just to make sure that she would be there to make sure that the king was not upset. Now, Harry doesn't care about that. So his whole behavior is very naive. And to think that he could behave as badly as he has done and still be treated very kindly by his father or William is ridiculous. He also, if I can just quickly add, he uses his children to help him get what he wants.
I was going to ask you about this, Angela, because obviously there was this briefing to Hello Magazine this week, and this all came from Harry. It was very obvious. It was like a propaganda piece for Harry. I thought it was a load of nonsense myself, and also hugely insensitive, by the way, that this article came out on the day that Charles was in Auschwitz, commemorating the 80th anniversary of the liberation of that Nazi concentration camp. And Harry decides to drop an article like this that day. I mean, I know we're used to him doing gross PR stunts, but to me, this was just such a low blow. But in that magazine, Angela, a friend of Harry's told Hello, the goal for Prince Harry is simple. He wants to ensure the safety of himself and his family while in the UK so his children can know his home country and so he can help support his patronages and their important work. But you don't believe that. Why?
No, I don't believe that at all, because he went out because he wanted to. And Meghan went with him because she was relieved because the UK was too small for her to do big things. She wants global. And so in the plane that he was flying out to Canada, he said, actually, I'm on the freedom flight. I'm leaving to save my life and my family's life. Okay, he felt like that 5 years ago. Does he think that the UK and London is better now than then? I mean, it's absolutely not. It's an appalling state. So that's ridiculous. Now then, would he do what he was told? Will he follow the protocols of the royal family? No. Would he do the work that the king asked him to do? No. He's now been very much on his own, and he won't do as he's told. He'll do what he wants to do. Where's he going to live? In the same hotel he's been living in the last year or so? I doubt it. Now, if Meghan wants to come, he'll want a huge mansion, but I hope she doesn't. I think she won't. And so there he will be with his children. Are they going to go to school in this country? Who's going to look after them? I mean, are they there? It's a ridiculous thing. He's using them to try and make people think that isn't the king mean? Why can't he be nice? I thought he would like children, but he obviously doesn't. You know, that would be absolutely nonsensical to say or even think. But Harry's putting it across because people will say, oh, poor little children, you know, they want to see their grandpa. Well, they haven't, because they haven't been allowed to. And they won't fit in with what the king wants to do. So it is, I think, using your children in that sort of way is appalling.
It really is. It really, really is. Now, Angela, this week has been another difficult one. Let's just be honest about it, for Meghan Markle, who has now become a laughing stock even amongst her employers at Netflix. You've been doing a deep dive looking into where it all went wrong by Meghan Markle. You say
Mm.
her whole reputation is hanging by a thread. There is a whole load of diminishing admirers, which I thought was a very good way to put it. But where in your investigation into this have you worked out where, I guess, the rot really kicked in?
Well, I think it is because one, it's always about me, me, me. And this thing is very much shows her up in the worst way. She says, come into my home. It's not hers. She's borrowed it, costing Netflix a fortune. She said, I'm going to collect lettuce from my garden. It's not her garden. So she knows that actually she's lying and it's phony. Anyway, then do you think that anybody would be interested if someone with long hair bends over and just gently touches one of the dishes that she's got? Or she says to one of her friends, would you like to put your fingers into this uncooked bread dough? Ugh, you go, no, I don't want to go anywhere near that. But sort of odd things that you ask people. And then I think that she's got to hurry up, because if she doesn't, if it's going to be changed, she's only got a few weeks. But still, it was going to be the aperitif for the American Riviera orchard. But I think interest has gone. It's all stale, isn't it? You can't want to know that you can wait at nearly a year, one more month, it's a year, for a jar of jam. I mean, it's over. People were captivated at first. I think when they really thought about it, they thought it was absolutely disgusting, and that you don't wash family dirty linen for everyone to see. And I think Americans love family, and they don't really want people to tell them all this rather ghastly information that's not even true about their family. So she's lost it there as well. Oh, I think, put down, she caught a prince and lived in luxury, and now she feels he's not quite right. She wants to do it herself. She wants to do her own PR and get on with things. But see, she won't listen. She won't accept advice from anybody who knows what she's doing far better than her. She wants to stay doing it her way. I mean, what she should do is accept that people are really against her at this moment, but is going to try and get them round, is to start again, deep breathe, find something that actually is really you. She can dig deep enough into herself and start all over again. But this, at the moment, it's not going to happen. And I fear that she won't get what she wants, really. I mean, I'm not even upset about that. But she doesn't have any understanding of getting people to like her. I mean, Catherine does it instantly, doesn't she? You see her running to a little girl and absolutely you adore her with a banana. But Meghan, it's always about her because she knows better and she's not going to change, and she's going to keep on doing what she wants to do. And she's the most ungrateful person you could ever meet.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. Just really interesting when I was looking at that. Oh, and there's the great moment with Catherine, which was obviously just totally gorgeous. But Angela, really interested. I was just looking at that picture of Meghan and Harry quite near the end of her time in the royal family. Could we just look at this actually? Because if you go a little bit closer on their faces, what I find really interesting here, look, Harry, he still looked quite young and I would say relatively happy because he was still in England, even though the marriage was falling apart. Now, if you compare Harry there and you contrast to him now, Angela, he looks drawn, he looks tired, he looks deeply unhappy and miserable. It honestly is like the joy has been sucked from him since moving to California. But first, the reason you're watching this show is because you know that these days it's almost impossible to trust the mainstream media or the so-called fact checkers who claim to patrol social media. And that's for a very good reason. given the Brexit debate, COVID debacle, and demonization of Donald Trump. But I have the solution. Today's sponsor, Ground News, was created by a former NASA engineer to provide you with the only safe way to consume the headlines. So you can go to ground.news/outspoken to check it out for yourself. But what I want to do now is show you this incredible website and app in action. So what we're going to do is take the recent story, you will have heard us talk about it on the show, Elon Musk falling out with Nigel Farage all over Tommy Robinson, the political prisoner. The left-wing legacy media tried to whip this up and destroy all three men. But what's great when you look at the story on Ground News, and you can do this, by the way, with any story in the news, not just this one, but this is just one example. So Ground News has collated the 230 sources in one place. It then instantly shows how the story is being covered by the media, broken down by whether those organizations lean to the left or right. It's called its bias distribution service. Then you can see every article about the topic broken down by the political position and ownership of the publication. So in this case, it shows that Fox News, an outlet on the right, gave a fair analysis, whereas the likes of Mediaite and The Independent on the left didn't, which isn't a surprise, I guess. But what's so great about this app and website is that Ground News gets to know you personally, providing you with news stories you're interested in. You can choose lots of different categories like Brexit or Donald Trump or Premier League football. But it also analyzes your own biases and comes up with potential blind spots that you might not be hearing about. So I know you love the news. That's why you're watching Outspoken, but you probably don't trust the legacy media. Ground News gives you the tools to understand the truth about what is really going on in the world. I can speak personally and say it's now the only way I read the news. I have the app on my phone. It allows me to see through media bias and manipulative narratives without having to rely on the MSM to define what is true. So go to ground.news/outspoken to check it out. You can subscribe through my link for 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use for unlimited access. Ground News is all subscriber funded. For less than a Netflix subscription, actually. It means you can get all the world's news in one place and think for yourself. It truly has been a real game changer, I guess, for a news junkie like me. So let me repeat the address, ground.news/outspoken, or you can use the QR code on screen if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble. And the description is the link is in the description in the show notes below. But now, back to the show.
Well, California's been a failure for him. He can't settle down there. He doesn't feel an American. And although he says, oh, it's lovely here, it really isn't. And also he's been treated like Meghan's helper. You know, if she needs him, when she was furious about people criticizing her, he sort of went back and said, oh, but you're wonderful. You're brilliant. You know, don't worry. You're so good at it. Because if he doesn't say that, she'll probably explode at him. I mean, he's lost his strength and personality because he's just somebody to walk behind her and do what he's told. He's fed up. But on the other hand, he's absolutely ruined his relationship with his family. So, you know, he's stuck between two walls. But I think he's got round now to feel dreadful about the way Camilla treats him. Anybody would. And I think he finds he can smile if she needs him to look after her for those miserable moments. But it's not real, is it? She just grabs him because at least there's someone who would look after her for 5 minutes.
Very, very true. Now, Angela, can we speak about probably the nicest piece of royal news of the week? Princess Beatrice giving birth to her second baby, a daughter called Athena. And this was actually a bit of a concern, wasn't it, health-wise, because it was very, very premature and was very light baby, I believe, but thank God she's all okay, and thank God she didn't leave the country as had initially been planned.
Yes, the little girl weighs 4 pounds 5.
Wow, that's so
very,
light,
very small.
Very tiny, yeah.
But my husband says she's beautiful and absolutely perfect. So they are thrilled with her. But there we are. There you have somebody who really listened. I know he was a doctor, and it's like different from hearing an expert and cookery. But actually, sometimes you do need to listen to somebody. And she wanted to go and spend Christmas with his family, which is quite understandable. But the doctor obviously saw something and told her not to. So she didn't. But she was going to go to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. And everybody wondered why she didn't turn up, and she didn't say anything. Very odd, because Beatrice is reliable and sensible, and she waited until 2 days after the baby was born and then let it be known why she didn't turn up. And I think they all thought, oh, well, that makes sense. That was it. But it's lovely for her because she's had a difficult time, really. She had a lover who she was with for years, and then he dropped her. So she was really upset. And she's had all this problem with her father, and a worry about her mother, who's had cancer twice. And so to have the joyousness of a second little girl would be lovely for her sister, and lovely for her, because she has always wanted children. The only thing I hope is that I heard that her husband, Mapeli Muzi, is actually going back, or has gone back already, to get on with his work in Europe. And I thought that was a bit of a shame, that you can't expect women to take all the working load of a child, 2 children, and his little son. Not necessarily because she can't afford to have a lot of help, but it's just, if you give birth, it makes you very tired. And it's a time, actually, it's a wonderful time when you share having an even bigger family, and that's 2 children really make a family, and that that he should go away, I think, is a shame, because I'm sure someone else could do something for a week or so. But I'm pleased that she's got another child, and she'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, and I guess maybe an opportunity for Prince Andrew to continue being a hands-on grandfather as well, given that he doesn't.
Yes, she's looked after him a lot. She goes round and tries to cheer him up most days, because she's very close to him, and she feels that that's important that she does that. So, to see a little baby and a toddler is actually delightful. And Prince Andrew should feel that he's helped create that next generation. And that would help him not feel so down and out.
What a lovely note to end on. A new arrival into the royal family, because I guess, don't know what number, but little Athena will be somewhere on the line of succession. Angela Levin, thank you so much. We will speak next week.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.